Thanks to Hollywood, we all have an idea of what it's like to be a college student. Movies like Animal House and Van Wilder portray college students as toga-clad partiers with very little concern for their education. But like most Hollywood stereotypes, that's not a true picture. Today's college students are focused on the world and their futures. More and more, students are becoming active in organizations on campus, and college campuses are responding with ways to make the overall college experience more relevant to students' education goals. Hello, I'm Chuck Cantrell. Today we'll hear more about how the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga offers programs and activities that help develop the whole student. So come back for Metro Campus, the UTC Report. Thanks for joining us today for Metro Campus, the UTC Report. I'm Chuck Cantrell. College students today have grown up in a post-Cold War world. Most of them were born when Ronald Reagan was president. They're focused on their careers and are dedicated to being productive citizens who recognize responsibility and are willing to shoulder their share. At the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga, leaders participate in committees and organizations that make a real difference on the campus. They are building their resumes while making significant, long-lasting contributions to the campus. Joining me today to discuss student leadership and why it's important are Tyler Forrest, a senator with the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga Student Government Association and also a member of the University of Tennessee Student Council, and Adam Cava, the president of the UTC Graduate Student Association and resident director in UTC Housing. Sorry about that fumbled introduction. Welcome to Metro Campus, both of you.
Great, thanks for having us.
Tyler and Adam, tell me a little bit about yourselves, your majors, and what your career aspirations are.
I'm from Athens, Tennessee. My major is accounting and finance in the College of Business, and I plan to attend law school once I'm done with my undergraduate studies, hopefully if all works out as planned.
And how far along are you?
I'm a sophomore.
Okay.
Great. I'm a graduate student. I'm in my second year of the Masters of Public Administration program. And I'm kind of from all over the Southeast, but I've landed here in Chattanooga for the last 6 years and enjoying every minute of it.
And what does your career go?
I'd like to get into public service, possibly city government, and maybe elected office one day.
So you may be a politician in the making.
Well, I'd like to call it a statesman, but sure.
Okay. Are you keeping active with the presidential campaign?
Yes, sir. I've been very active and keeping up with the reports every day.
Good. So tell me a little bit about your activities as student leaders. And I'll ask that question of both of you. And Tyler, if you'll go ahead and start, what kind of activities are you involved in?
Well, being a student leader is extremely time consuming. I mean, it is an all the time, activity based, going all the time deal. But I'm mainly involved with the Student Government Association, which has got me involved in a lot of other things, such as the University Student Council, the all-dreaded Committee of Parking Appeals, and many other things that are just so enjoyable to work with and be involved with. And it's really great just to know that you're helping other students.
Adam?
Sure. What I do, I'm president of the Graduate Student Association, so my task is to represent about 1,300 graduate students across campus and to be a liaison between the students and the administration. So I have a great opportunity to network with students, network with area community leaders, and also to work with administrators to make UTC more graduate student friendly, and we're making a great headway doing that.
Let me ask you a question, Adam, and we'll get back to Tyler a little bit, but graduate students perhaps have a different set of needs from a college. They're not your right out of high school. They're going to be a little bit older, perhaps working, more part-time students. What are some of the concerns that graduate students have about going to any college, not necessarily just UTC?
Sure. Well, I think the first thing they want to see is they want to see a college that caters to them academically. And UTC has a great track record of doing that. We consistently rank in the top 40 of graduate schools in the South. So we're doing a great job academically of really supporting our programs and our academics. Other things they like to see are research support. They want to see funds and allocations to enable them to do problem solving for the community areas. And then also great professors. And that's something that UTC has done a great job at as well.
I know that UTC is a metropolitan university located in downtown Chattanooga and very active in the community. How does that play a role in graduate education at UTC?
I think it plays a very pivotal role. What we'd like to see is we'd like to see graduate students studying in the classroom and then applying their studies to their jobs, their potential futures, and things like that. So, of course, graduate education is a great way to get applied learning out into the community to solve real problems in the community.
Are you working on any research projects, or have you gotten anything?
Yes, sir, I am. I'm working on a couple different projects. The main one I'm working on is looking at the outsourcing of some of the government contracts surrounding student housing, and that actually will be coming out probably a little bit later this semester. Other projects are also just working on institutionalizing some funds for the Graduate Student Association and helping to create a more graduate student campus, which is going very well.
Tyler, sort of the same questions for you. What are some of the concerns and issues that you think are important to college students?
Well, the main concern, in my opinion, is when students come to campus, they must get engaged in the campus. And that is something we work through every single day, trying to think of activities or programs that get students out, to get them involved. And typically when we get them involved, you see higher retention rates, more school spirit, higher attendance at events. And I mean, that is really my main focus, and I think the Student Government Association works diligently to do that.
I tell you what, we're going to have to take a break here in a minute, but let me ask you a question about funding. So much funding is required to run a college. A lot of it comes from tuition, and I guess it's a question I can ask both of you. We're going to start with Tyler before we go take a break here. Well, actually, I'm going to give you time to think about it. I'm going to ask both of you the question: how important is tuition sort of stabilization, and then at the same time recognizing that the college has needs and that the money has to be raised somewhere? State support's not coming. Tuition is important. We're going to talk about that a little bit when we come back. When we return, we'll continue our discussion about student leadership. Thanks for coming back for more Metro Campus, the UTC Report. I'm Chuck Cantrell. We're talking with UTC students about student leadership and the concerns of UTC students today. Okay, before we went to the break, I was asking you about tuition. How are you guys, as student leaders, you're in a position to see the financial needs for the institution? I know you're actually on the budget committee this year, so you're recognizing the growing constraints and the needs of the campus. At the same time, you're representing the student body. You don't want tuition to become so high that students can't afford to come. So how are you looking at balancing those needs, and how important is it to keep tuition low? And I'll start with you, Tyler.
Well, with any organization, you have the students wanting more and want to pay less. And unfortunately, that can't happen. But in my opinion, moderate increases have to occur, because if they don't, the campus begins to run down more. You have facility problems. You have academic programs that can't be expanded. But moderate increases are essential to furthering our campus community.
Tyler, or Adam, I asked the same question.
Sure, I think it's a good question. You know, one thing that both Tyler and I both work for is the student interest, and we're really trying to develop that and keep tuition as low as possible. And what's great is we have administration who work for the same goal. We're all on the same page, trying to keep tuition low so we can get lots of students in the doors and get them educated and out as productive citizens. So I think that I would support everything that was said already. And that's our goal, is to keep tuition as low as possible, but also deliver a really quality educational experience, and I think UTC is doing that.
I know that graduate students already pay a higher amount already, so
yes, sir.
It can be even tougher for graduate students, especially if they're already working and they've got families and it's not their full-time job to go to school.
Right.
So it's good that you're out there, fighting for those issues. Let me ask you a question about the other concerns on campus. I know that recently UTC students voted to implement a $10 green fee, which would imply that the environment and sort of green issues are important to college students. Would you guys agree with that idea?
Well, undoubtedly, the green fee passed by a huge margin, and students seem to be very interested in purchasing green power and getting electrical saving devices in classrooms and everything. And I really have not heard many complaints about the $10, because I think there is such an interest in the environment now, especially in the past decade or so.
Yeah, I'd agree with Tyler. One of the main things that we're seeing is that students are more engaged in their communities, and they really care about issues in the world around them, and climate is one of those issues. UTC students, I think, have made a great step and a leap forward to address that issue. So definitely we have a very engaged student population, and they're looking at those types of issues.
And I think perhaps even during spring break, they're going to be installing the motion detectors in classrooms so that when the room sits vacant for a while, the light will go out.
Sure, every penny counts.
It really, and it's amazing how much money they think that'll add up to. Let me ask you a question about student recreation. I know that there's the process of building a student wellness center that would include a lot of exercise, swimming pool down the road. How important is the need for recreation and things outside of the classroom, and students' willingness to pay for that? And I'll start with you this time, Adam.
Sure, it's a very important piece of the campus. We're seeing more and more students living on campus, also with graduate students that are there after hours, past 5 o'clock. So the campus really is alive all the time, and we need to be able to create those recreational opportunities. Gives students a great place to build a community, to get to know each other, also stay out of trouble. And so that's very important. I'm glad to see UTC is working on the new wellness center. We've also got some other programs in place. The Graduate Student Association does programs, student government does programs, and we're really trying to bring that piece to the campus. It's very important.
What about you, Tyler?
Well, the Wellness Center is definitely going to bring a great aspect to us, but something that I think of immediately is our club sports. They get students engaged so much, and when I think of club sports, I think of our baseball team that has actually beat UTK's club baseball team on several occasions, which we are very proud of course. And as I said earlier, when you engage students in activities, the more you engage them, the more they're happier with their campus and the more they tend to stay.
Yeah, we have some pretty killer clubs teams. My son is a lacrosse player at his school, and he's interested in our lacrosse program. I know we have a rugby team, and our rowing team is very active. Tyler, I want to follow up on something that you mentioned there, and I know both of you are on the university system student council, so you're active at the student leadership level outside Chattanooga, actually across the state. How much of a little bit of a competition is there between the UTC campus and the Knoxville campus? Because you mentioned the beating them in baseball. You were proud of that.
Well, I think undoubtedly there's going to be tension there, and it seems that all the minority schools in the state get along a lot better than we do with the Knoxville campus. It's not that we don't get along with them, but they dominate in everything, so we're always very proud when we can say we dominate in something. And I always like to look at UTC as the academic standard campus of the system, and maybe Knoxville as the athletic standard of the system. So.
You're nodding. Do you agree with that?
I think I'd agree. Tennessee in general maybe bleeds a little orange, but I think Chattanooga bleeds blue and gold pretty well. And so we're proud whenever we can, really make a stand for academics or sports, and really show that school spirit and what UTC has to offer.
I'll tell you about, we're going to have to take a break here in a minute. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about school spirit and some things that you guys are trying to do to get more UTC students involved in UTC athletics. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation about student leadership at UTC. Thanks for coming back for more Metro Campus, the UTC Report. I'm Chuck Cantrell. Right before we went to the break, you were talking about trying to encourage more students to become UTC athletics fans. It's very simple on a campus like UTC's, where a lot of the students are still commuter students. They come to campus and they go back to their lives away from campus, and they don't necessarily get involved in not only activities, but supporting the school and in sort of team spirit. I know that both of you have been involved in some things to try to get students to be Mocs fans. It's okay to be a Knoxville fan and to be a Mocs fan. So tell me a little bit, how important is school spirit, and what are you doing to try to promote it?
Well, school spirit is the key. I keep going back to staying at your school, being involved, and that's part of that crucial key. But I think we did an amazing thing this year by having the Knoxville basketball team down against the UTC basketball. That was the most packed I'd ever seen, McKenzie Arena. It was truly splitting at its seams, and the Student Government Association was out in full force. We did a lot of activities that corresponded with it that I think really engaged students and got them interested to want to come back more, and hopefully got them engaged in UTC sports.
What about football? It's hard to get the students to come to football games. I know that housing has some particular things.
Sure.
You actually have some things that you do to try to get students down to the football games.
Yeah, well, in housing, what we try to do is provide a little bit of incentives and also make it very accessible for the students to get to the football games. The stadium is a little bit off campus, so we provide bus trips to the area. We may provide some tailgating parties beforehand to get students amped up and ready to go. We've made signs and posters that say, this specific apartment complex, loves the Mocs. So we're definitely doing our part. I think, what Tyler said is very true. We've got to get these students connected to the Chattanooga experience, and then once they're there, they'll really be enjoying themselves.
Well, it's really interesting because the statistics show that students who are more active on campus and engaged in activities actually do better academically. So I'm going to sort of turn the light on you a little bit more personally now. What are you hoping to get from all this? Because you could easily come to school, take classes, go about your business, and graduate and get a job.
Sure.
But you're taking some extra time from your days to be active on committees and doing all the student activity work. What do you think you're going to get from it, either today and then sort of long term? And I'll start with you, Adam.
Sure. I think I'm getting two things from it. I'm getting the opportunity to serve people around me. And it's very important. I think it's important to me, and it's also important to a lot of other students, the chance to make a difference in their community. The second thing is I'm getting a lot of applied knowledge. I'm learning things in the classroom, and I'm applying it directly to the Graduate Student Association. So, the experience has been invaluable for me. Opportunities to really use what I'm learning in the classroom, build my resume, and build the pieces for success in the future.
On a personal note, I absolutely love representing the students. I've done it for a number of years now, and any opportunity I have to do it and do it more, I take it. But I think even more personal is it helps me academically. The more engaged I am, the better my grades are, undoubtedly. I try my hardest to maintain a 4.0, and every time I add a committee, it seems like the A's continue to rise. So it's a good experience.
That's great. More committee work means A on the test. Let me ask you this: are there some specific skills that you think you're picking up now as student leaders that are going to help you in your careers? I know both of you sort of mentioned political aspirations. What are some of those sort of soft skills or charisma skills or whatever?
Sure. Yeah, I'd say one skill is just people skills and dealing with people and learning how to address people's problems and bringing people together to solve some issues. That's a really big skill that I've learned, and networking. I would say those are some pretty important soft skills, and just listening to people, and then also doing something, providing action to concerns.
I agree with Adam 100%, and also the old saying is that all politics is local, and this is about as local as it can get. You're right there on your campus, you're engaged, and you're really being able to be out there with the people you represent every day, and it just brings a great satisfaction to anyone that does it.
I know that both of you were in Nashville recently to talk to state legislatures about funding for higher education to support the University of Tennessee, the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga, and higher education in general in Tennessee. If you had an opportunity right now to talk to those folks again, what exactly do you say? Why do you think it's important for the state to support higher education? What did you say to those legislators?
I think the first thing I'd say is that there's a little bit of Chattanooga. The campus is in all of their districts, and we have people from all over the state of Tennessee who are here studying and learning, and we're going to bring that knowledge back to their areas. So we need to invest in those students, especially at the graduate level, to ensure that we're getting some professional, certified, and very applied skills that they can bring back to their areas.
Tyler, you're off the hook because we're running out of time.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I'm afraid that's all the time we have for Metro Campus. To all my guests, thanks for joining me. Viewers, thank you for watching. See you next month.